producers, musicians, creatives. Jeff Nang here, where I go through music production tips and tricks, plugin reviews, beat making, and so much more. And today, I'm going to be going through 5 music production tips to help you elevate your tracks to that next level. But before that, if you like content like this and you like to point your fingers at people like I do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and press that bell notification icon here or here so you get notified every time I make a video. But without further ado, let's make some music. So this is 5 music production tips that are sure to elevate your tracks. Number 1, be creative with your layers. Layers are so important to actually take the listener on a journey. I'm sure you know this. If you're a producer, fellow producer, the basic layers are bass, drums, chords, vocals, or a melody. So as you can see, my layers are here. So I've got synths, I've got something I call magic bass, I've got my guitars, I've got my drums, I've got my effects, I've got my vocals. So what I usually do with my layers is I love to layer up an instrument to make it sound like one layer. Let's just play a little bit of this track real quick. So to keep it simple, let's go to the intro. These synths here, they're actually playing the same thing. You hear one by itself, but with that other filtered synth on top of it, it suddenly sounds a little bit more wider, sounds a bit more cooler, sounds a bit more vibrant and full. Let's play the first layer in the chorus. So you have a bell. You have what I call a crunchy synth. Crunchy. It sounds like a chocolate bar. And then finally, all together. So always try and be creative when layering with your instruments. Each layer needs to be singing its own song. So the chords. Get that bass in. Guitars. And then obviously you have your drums on top, which it just glues everything together. It allows the listener to know what kind of song it is. The second tip that has helped me elevate my tracks are the chords. Chord progressions are very important. Everything should have a chord progression somewhere. Depending if you're making like I don't know, like an electronic. Even electronic music has chords, but I mean maybe them 808 type hip hop. I mean even that has chords. Maybe if you're making some EDM, even that has chords. Everything has chords. Trying out different chord progressions are a great way to keep the listener, to also take them on a journey. I have made a chord pack myself. It's called Magic Chords. I've left a link below, so please feel free to click that link. It's got around 250 MIDI files in there, and it's also free. Power of MIDI packs are crazy, mad. So if we just go to R&B Magic, and you just drag that baby in. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. If you have the problem with always coming out with the same type of chords, just use a MIDI pack. And it's always great to try out different chord progressions in the different parts of your song. In my verse. So that's the verse, and then the pre-chorus changes a little bit. And then the chorus changes again. The chord progressions haven't totally changed. They're just variations of each other, but they're still connected to each other. So always try and find ways of being creative with your chords. The third tip is dynamics. Dynamics allow your track to breathe. When you hear really great music, the producer and the musicians are taking you in and out of the song. They're taking you on a ride. It's up and down. It's pull and push. It's soft and it's hard. It's all these different dynamics. The only way to explain it is it really allows the track to breathe. A verse should kind of be quite thin. It's the first time you're conversating with the listener. You don't want to ramble. You don't want to ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. You want to get to know them first. I'm adding things here and there. I'm accentuating the chord to make the conversation a little bit more interesting. One thing that you can take and do straight away is to think about your transitions in between sections. So from my verse to my pre-chorus. So what I did there, I took out the snare. So it just went bam, bam, dum, 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 dum. And then now I'm adding bells into the pre-chorus, you know, just to let the listener know that we're in a different section. We have fills and we have effects, as you can see here. I've got my effects here. I'll show you what they are. It's always great to use effects and build-ups and sweeps and crashes to just exaggerate the dynamic. So dynamically, it sounds like we got louder, but we probably did get a little bit louder, but we just got a bit more fuller because of the added elements and layers, just to let the people know that, hey, we're at the chorus. And that brings me to the fourth tip. Fourth tip is your arrangement. I know it sounds so simple, but the arrangement is something that allows a listener to be comfortable while listening to your music. So we are programmed to actually follow a certain structure, not just in music, but in life, in whatever you're doing. You know, we're part of a structure. Following a pattern is very human for us. It's what we do. It's how we're made. So always follow a structure to allow the listener to keep up with your thoughts. So you can actually see I've got an intro, I've got a verse, got a pre-chorus, chorus, verse 2, pre-chorus 2, a double chorus, and then I go into a bridge, and then usually you would go into another chorus, but I've just went into an outro. So I've adapted, I've changed it slightly, but I haven't gone too far left. Try and be clear of what section it is. The verse on this song was very simple, it was more subtle, and then the pre-chorus came in with some bells on top. So always notify the listener by your layers and your instruments and dynamics, the different sections of your arrangement. This will allow your music to be heard much more clearer. The fifth and final tip: listen to other people's music. It's the only way that we can learn. It's the only way that we can understand all of these other tips that I've been giving you, from listening to other producers' layers, instruments, dynamics, arrangements, understanding how to take the listener on a journey. The only way we can do that is when we learn from the best. I make music from about 10 a.m. to late hours of the evening, but every few hours I'm listening to one of my favorite producers. I could be listening to something from Michael Jackson, from Kanye, from Daft Punk, anything that I can get my ears on to understand how they got that vibe. There's a difference between listening and singing along, but what we're trying to do is listening to the song. How is the song making you feel, and why is the instruments making me feel like that? And the tips that I've given you today are a great list to have in the back of your mind while listening to your favorite music. Learn from the best, learn from what they are doing, because that is the way we are going to elevate ourselves, by learning from each other. So that is the 5 tips to help you elevate, help your tracks get to that next level. Hopefully that has been helpful. I could have easily made a video on each of these tips because they're really important, and these tips actually go deeper, but maybe I'll do that on my future videos. But once again, going back to the MIDI chord pack, It's a free download link just below. Click the link, get those chords for free, use them, have fun with them, get creative. Thank you for watching. I've been Jeff Nang. I'll be back next week with more music production tips, making beats, and being creative. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And until the next one, be good, be creative, peace out.